Good evening. We are Team Socrates.
We are.
This is David, Quincy, and Drew. We've developed an app for anonymous question asking, answering, etc. We field as many applications. We'd like to take you through some of the code and the use cases we have currently.
Okay.
I'm going to demo the admin login for me real quick. Or bring it over here so that I can do it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to share this and go to our page, which is socratesapp.co. It is live over here.
Hold on. Command R to refresh.
Okay.
On that. Just FYI.
So this is the landing page. So like I said, I'm going to demonstrate an admin login. We have two different types of users, admins and then anonymous users. So you go over here to the login up here at the top left, or yeah, the top left, and then I'll enter my user credentials because I'm considered an admin on here.
This is live.
You're being too formal.
Absolutely live.
Way too formal.
So then this is what an admin would see. They would see the sessions that belong to them. Whenever they create a session, that session is belonging to them. Create a session.
Team. Very nice.
Then you'll see it show up over here again. So that is the admin login. I don't know how to use a Mac.
Oh, you're trying to get to the code?
Yeah.
Okay, just go back. You were almost on Adam. Adam. Okay. You did it. You did it.
Okay. So basically, the login is just got ng model on it with email and password, and then the button is ng click login. And then the code for that is here. Auth is a factory that I wrote in Angular for the authorization service provided with Firebase. I take the email and the password and put them into local variables for the function. $auth with password is a function that's provided by that factory by Firebase, and then I pass in the password to anonymous, which takes the data from the authorization and puts it into local variables, and then does some stuff. Just says that the user path is the Firebase array's user's child, and then the user path.order by child gets the username. It just basically orders, order by child just finds every user at this path with UID, and then says it's equal to the UID of the authorization data, and then sets the root scope's username equal to the email of that data that it's pulling with this function, which just populates what's the logged in as in the top right says. Then after it's done, it goes to post login, which is the screen that was shown with the sessions and whatnot that belong to that admin. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Quincy, who's going to talk about the anonymous login. I'm going to log out over here so that he can.
It's actually going to be Mr. David Saturday.
Oh,
Mr.
sorry.
What's your middle name?
My name is David.
David Saturday.
Yeah.
David Saturday.
Okay. Let's get all set up here. All right. So we're going to walk you through the use case for anonymous login and then review some of the code behind that. First, when you log in here, as Drew explained, we do have two different types of user: the administrator, who's going to administer the session, and the anonymous user, who's going to be basically everyone else. They can have their own accounts, but it's probably easier with the use case involved that we stay anonymous. That's kind of the premise around this, is promote free thinking and less judgment. So the way we're going to begin as an anonymous user on this homepage here, just click the start button. And as you can see at the top, we're going to be logged in as anonymous blue Euphrates. So it's really simple naming scheme. It's just a color and then a Greek philosopher. This would provide several names, you know, so we don't have to worry about running out or anything. 20 or so, you know. Oh, 20 quadrillion. Okay.
Ridiculous.
Oh, okay. Somewhere in that realm. So after they log in, they're going to be immediately routed to the sessions page where we can see through the sessions that are available to this anonymous user. Wrong one.
Yeah.
We're going to go back
Do a
one.
startup weekend.
we're gonna click on a session here, and we're gonna see all the sessions or all the questions that have currently already been asked. Right here, we can type in the question that we have, like, what does the fox say? No, okay. So no one's asked that question, but I feel like somebody has. So as you can see, it kind of filters out as we go through here. And then from this, people will be able to upvote. One click to upvote, return to the same button and click again to remove your vote. So it's probably about time we take you through some of the code behind this.
You want to show one where the logic actually works real quick, like 13
okay.
and 13, to show that it actually upvotes the question.
Okay, yeah, here is two questions that have identical values for the upvote. You didn't see my air quotes there. But given that we upvote this question, we can see it moves up one. So we do have it logically working in that manner. Okay, now onto the code. Click in the back here. It's going to start at this main.html here. Through our start button, ng-click event, we're going to pull a call to an anonymous login method. Then we're going to go up here. Is it login.js? Main.js. Okay. So after that, we're going to load up our module here. And it's going to contain a lot of our functions, our scope, our root scope, and then the auth factory that Drew was speaking about earlier that contained all the auth requirements in it. So we're setting our scope to get auth there, and then calling this anonymous function here. And all this does is pull that auth data from the Firebase database, and then it's going to set one of those values to these array of random names, random colors, and then set the auth data equal to that. After a while, it'll just obviously display back where the email would be for the logged in users, their actual name that they've generated. And then the ref child part, Drew, can you explain this better?
Yeah,
I can.
Ref is just a reference to the Firebase array, and then .child is saying it's the reference at users, and then so they're pushing a new user with the auth data's UID. The email, which would be their quote-unquote username. Upvoted questions is an empty object because they won't have any upvoted questions to themselves yet. And then the anonymous true is just marking that account as anonymous.
So another thing to touch on is the way that it was designed to have the questions upvoted was to have a user and then add the questions to the upvoted questions array. A little logic behind that will dictate that you cannot upvote the same question more than once. So we store those into the array, and then just our location here, set it straight to the sessions path so that we can get the users in and working. Now Quincy is going to talk about how you post a question and a little bit behind that.
Okay, so I'm going to go back over to the site here and just show a question being posted. David kind of took us through that where it automatically filters. So I'll go ahead and commit to what did the fox, or what is it? What does the fox say? What does the fox say? As we can see, no one asked what does the fox say, and that's just a basic Angular filter on there. So we'll go ahead and ask that question. No one cares what does the fox say, but we're going to give it an upvote because we care. And I guess while I'm on this page, I'll point out a couple of neat things. Is that the session is assigned a pin, so this series of questions is called a session, and it's assigned a pin number. An anonymous user can access that by pin number. That's not yet implemented the way we want it, but that's something that we have.
It works.
Yeah, it works. It's just not live the way we want it because of a modal, like weird background layer issue. And then the QR code here as well. Someone can get to this session straight from a QR code that they scan with whatever QR code scanning app they might have, and that does work.
Go ahead and pull it up if you want.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So yeah, scan this QR code and you'll be directed to the session. And this code could also be on like a banner or a sign that's right outside of a speaking venue or something like that.
Does the QR code launches the anonymous session?
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So now we've kind of seen that, and we'll go over to the code here. So we're going to go to questions. Actually, let's look at the HTML real quick. So this is pretty straightforward. We've got just the series of questions right here. ng repeat fills those questions out from the Firebase database. It filters on text, orders by upvotes, all that kind of good stuff. So the Angular makes all that pretty easy. We can see our question ID being filled in there. And then this is the modal for the QR code. Okay. And now let's kick it over to questions.js. Create always. Okay, so right here is the beginning of the question logic. So this is pretty basic. The question's added by a function that pushes that to the JSON in Firebase, and then if you can see here, pretty complex logic for upvoting this question, and Drew would happily tell you like that was one of the most complex things is getting persistent upvotes down. But basically, if we've got a new question, and then the user questions is the array. If that user questions array is at 0, we're going to apply one upvote to the question, apply the CSS, all that good stuff, and then that user question array is updated and says, hey, they've upvoted this question, so they cannot upvote it again. If the question is new, then it reduces their upvote count in the array and allows them to upvote that question. Or if it's an already existing question, it just pushes that question into their upvoted questions array, so they can upvote multiple questions, and they can remove their existing upvote if they want to. And that's basically how that works. Okay, and then I guess the last thing we'll take you through is the front end stuff.
Sure.
Okay, so as you can see, the front end isn't like unified across the entire site, but if we come back here to home, let's go ahead and log out so we can see a couple things here. We've got our start button, and this will immediately log someone in as a anonymous user, and we'll look at the CSS for that real quick. So pretty much everything is contained here in main. It's just sectioned off by the page that it applies to. Brand image and brand area, that's the home page, and brand image is our the icon that you see here, this Socrates icon. And then we've got all the styling for the sessions page here. So you can see sessions main brand that controls like the sessions title, the container for the entire page there. And then a bit of new CSS that will be on, if we go to the anonymous login. Yeah, so this is a little bit broken, but this is the tentative pin area where a user could enter their pin for the specific session while they're already on the site, click go and go straight to the session. But as you can see, we've got all these sessions here. They have a little animation added, or not truly an animation, just a CSS change whenever you click on them, and you go in that way. And the same applies for, let me log out real quick. Same applies for our little start button there. Let's see. And we actually had to do separate, I talked a little bit about in class when we ran into this bug with the mobile mode, and I guess really we should have shown the whole thing in mobile because it's really meant to be used on the phone more than anything else. We'll go ahead and bring that up though. So when we worked on the front end, we mostly used this view. So it's like an iPhone 6 Plus here in Inspect, and we've got our little drop down arrow that brings up the menu when we're in mobile. And then there's our little bug that I could never figure out how to get away. But the header has its own CSS, like the header in Bootstrap. That was like one of the things with working with Bootstrap that was kind of hard, like not compared to some of the other stuff that was going on, but hard for me.
You were the only one that cares about that.
I care a lot about it. I care a lot about the way it looks. But anyway, this is all just for the header, just to get that working correctly. The rest of the site probably deserves this granular of CSS, but we have not yet achieved that. So I really wanted to get the header working correctly. And I think we did that pretty successfully, other than our one little bug. But I don't think anybody's ever going to notice that. Looks pretty cool. All right, anyway. Okay. David wants us to hold on.
No,
Hold on.
It's not. It's not. There's not even anything there.
Hold on, I gotta go back to
It's
this.
not worth
Sure.
it.
David wants us to
Let's just wrap it up.
wrap it up. So let's wrap it up. I don't know how long we've been on here, but that's Socrates. Do you have anything else you want to say, Drew?
No, not really.
Did we miss anything?
One of the big points is that all of this was happening in real time. So if two people were looking at it at once, they would see that we posted a question, or they would see that a new session was created.
Yeah. You can talk a little bit about Firebase, like a minute about Firebase and what that's all about.
I mean, I really did justice to Firebase in my lightning talk, but that's what this is built on. The API, so to speak, would probably be the factories that are built with Angular. What are you doing?
I don't know what it's doing. This is
The API
surface
source
set.
would probably be the factories that are built within Angular. There's no real true API. All the calls to the database are defined by Firebase. So you just use those for all the manipulation that you need to do with the data in between the client and Firebase. But other than that, it's just a real-time updating non-relational database, and it's really powerful, really quick, really easy to use.
Yeah. You got anything else, David?
No.
All right, so I guess that's Socrates. We really enjoyed working on this project, and we'll continue to do more. So we got stuff planned. So that is our code review.